Pentious is one of those characters that got the love of the people relatively quickly, earning the title of Best Boy in a way that neither he or me even know why. But as someone that tends to not get attached to many characters, it's not my place to complain. Hey Elementarians, welcome to the, or a new video. I am your host, Reader, most commonly known as Siri. How you say you're doing today? You have already read the title and probably seen the thumbnail. We're going to be reimagining Pentious today. Hazbin's perfect boy that many of you have told me at least 3 times that you love. I'm glad! There's more people to disappoint. A quick disclaimer, I am not a professional. I'm just an internet inhabitant with not enough free time at the moment, but with an unhealthy amount of boredom and will to do this. My word is not final, and I do not expect you to stop liking the OG designs/characters. This is all just for fun, and all I ask is to keep the comments civil and mindful of the rest of the people. And please, do not harass the original creators. Alrighty, thanks for watching, and with all that out of the way, let's begin with the madness. If my baggy redesign is something to go off, you might have already noticed that I tend to be a little bit of an extremist when it comes with my reimaginings. Hence why this time, I also did a redesign for those who might not quite enjoy a complete overhaul of the character. Here's my Pentious redesign. The 2 most noticeable things I changed were 1. The fact that I made him look more like a snake, and 2. I got rid of his head because, oh god please no, only keeping the glasses and putting them on his neck. In the same vein of making him look more like a snake, I gave him a snout and kept only his fangs. While I could have given him robotic prosthetics like many other artists have done, I wanted to be a tad bit more original, having him use his whole body instead. Here are some sketch examples of what that may look like. I kept his suit, it just doesn't have as many colors. The sleeves are tied behind his back because it's not like he's using them, but he does like to pretend. I got rid of all the eyes he has on his body because even if we see him use the ones on his hood to hypnotize Angel, the ones that are on his tail just seem like clutter to me. Instead, I think it'll be easier to just use his main eyes when he tries to hypnotize someone. Already, I am not a fan of patterns, and this is made worse when the pattern doesn't really have a reason to exist. Case in point, Pentious' tail. There is no real indication for this pattern to happen in the first place. However, I didn't get rid of it. Instead, I decided to continue the pattern his head started, with a yellow belly, a gray back, and a black line that finishes at the tip. Now, for those who like the character, avert your eyes and ears. So let's get this out of the way. I didn't want to use the cover again. This meant looking for another animal that could suffice our needs. Since I wanted to keep the arms and the snake/reptile features, the command line in my search bar was snake with arms that exists. Behold, the Mexican mole lizard, who, yes, looks more like a worm than a snake, but aside from that, it was actually the closest thing that we could find to what we wanted. Another thing that made me choose them was their behavior. They spend most of their lives on the ground, creating tunnels with their arms. This is for heat regulation, which means that the hotter it is, the lower they go, mostly going outside in the mornings when it's colder. Or, hear me out, when there's less people outside. I essentially tied the Mexican mole lizard's behavior with Pentious' hermit tendencies, and after that, the case was closed. Another good thing that this little fella has given us is the fact that I can keep the mouth full of teeth the original Pentious has. However, to fully alienate him from the original character, I would have to change his backstory. But who would do that, right? Why is the video so long? Now, I'm not completely against whatever the show did. Of course I wanted to listen to another backstory about yet another twin with glasses. Yes, I'm being sarcastic, but I'll admit, the hair animation? Mesmerizing. Being honest, the only thing I can pinpoint I didn't like is the delivery of the backstory. Personally, I would have handled it differently. I don't know, maybe make it so that the yellow owl lady is reading his mind or showing the memories to everyone in the trial room instead. But I digress. Let's talk about the rewrite. The rest is the same, 1880s. However, instead of being just an inventor, I decided to make him a university professor too. Someone who publishes research and competes academically. So, from now on, he'll be Professor Pentious. Now, what was the oh so awful thing he did to end up with eternal damnation? Well, it was just a thing scientists are infamous for. Stealing research. I can totally picture this new version stealing his friend's thesis the day before he had to turn it in. Probably because he felt his wasn't good enough. And yeah, that's the main reason he ended up in hell for. To which you might say, that's lame, how could they assess him from that only action? And that's the point, we're trying to build an unfair heaven. I have a rule for colors when it comes to designing sinners. The colors of the sins they committed are present on their body. I have also changed the colors of the sins a little, but the now relevant ones are pink for sloth, orange for greed, and green for envy. To the previously mentioned record, I'm also adding recklessness as a professor. With him preferring more hands-on approaches or experiments, there were probably some students that got harmed in order to achieve whatever he wanted to achieve, heightening the sins of sloth because of apathy and greed. This was also the way he would end up dying from overexposure, so now his interior and his body glows. When it came to his clothing, sadly I'm not the kind to be interested in this, so I just looked up men's clothing in the 1880s, ending up with this jacket best combination. And no pants. From the original design, once again, I just kept the glasses. This was mostly because they actually looked really cool, and let's just think that the only thing he protected were his eyes. Please, I need this. Now, what is his role at the hotel? This is still on the drawing board, but as of now, Pentious is still going to be the first one to be redeemed. Different from the show, however, we'll actually see an arc in his behavior, because he's way lower than Pentious himself is in the show. Though now that I think about it, he is bombing a district in the pilot, so... My Pentious is more apprehensive, more self-righteous, more likely to isolate himself because that's his survival response to the harshness of hell. The hotel, on the other hand, is a safe space, a place he can rest at without having to have an eye open, a place he can put his walls down without the fear of being judged, a place he can witness goodness and forgiveness again, a place he can trust and hope at. However, his redemption won't happen the same way it happens in the show. He does work out his mistakes, but salvation doesn't come in death. It is actually directly tied to Charlie and illegality. At least that's the idea for now. My thoughts tend to be scattered and prone to a lot of change, but as of now, this seems fine to me. What do you think? One of the things I'm still thinking about is the egg boys. I don't mind them. In fact, I really love Frank. But I wonder whether I should include them or not. They can maybe be given to him by Emily once he gets into heaven to help him get used to the place. Or maybe we can make them his students who are anxiously attached. Or maybe they are pets. I don't really know. I'm just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. Maybe you can give me your thoughts on that. Once again, remember to be mindful, and I hope you liked the video. There's another video on this series, that being Wildest redesign. I'll make sure to leave that and all the related ones in the playlist. They'll be in the description if you're interested in watching them. Down there, you'll also find the music I use and my socials if you care enough to check that out. The like goal of this video is 50 likes, so if you want to see more of this nonsense, that's your ticket. Without further ado, have a good day, afternoon, night. See you soon. Baney.